Welcome beloveds. In today's session we will discuss on coping strategies of stress. So how one can deal with the stressor and what all effective techniques and practices one can use to deal with the stress. Number one effective powerful technique which can be practiced at any moment of time is breathing exercise. So relaxation training is very important. We breathe all the time, right? That's how we are surviving, but we may not know how to breathe. We may know at a theoretical level, I guess, the relationship between breathing and the experience we have in the body and brain. So we do understand that there is a positive correlationship between the patterns of breathing and the physical sensations that we experience at any given point of time. Yet, we might have not learned or understood how to breathe at a practical level. So, every day, if you could spare 5 to 10 minutes for yourself and be grateful for the breath, meaning you learn and practice different types of breathing exercises, so that whenever you are in any uncomfortable situation, or if the present time is such that you are struggling with something, or you are dealing with any of the stressor in your life, or if you have the habit of getting into overthinking and thereby panicking yourself more than the present moment demands or requires, you really need to learn relaxation training and different types of breathing exercise. So the simple one which we are aware of is pranayam, alternate nostril breathing, that will be very helpful to you, which you can do early in the morning and before sleep time. Other than that, if you are in any of the social situations or at any given point of time you are struggling with something and there is lot of panicky sensations, or some sort of nervousness is there or anxiety is there, all you have to do is bring your focus on the breath. Start breathing right then and there, and it's your breath, nothing to do with anyone else. So no need to be conscious of how you will look like or what other people will think. We are breathing all the time. I mean, have you ever experienced someone like that who has asked you, hey, how are you breathing? What are your breathing levels? Are you breathing right now? No, no one even thinks like that, right? So you just bring focus on yourself by bringing your focus on the breath, not what you are thinking, not what you are, like creating more problems for yourself, but just bring your focus on the breath. So quick breathing exercises, like you can go for box breathing, which could be a part of your meditation practice. You can do any type of pranayam, again part of meditation practice, and in the moment quick inhale and quick exhale. So that is called rapid breathing exercises. So you quickly inhale for 7 seconds and quickly exhale for 7 seconds, or you can do same cycle of inhale, hold and exhale. So 7 seconds inhale, 7 seconds hold and 7 seconds exhale. That will be very helpful to you. So at any given point of time, the first thing is you have to bring your focus on breath. Second point is, this is a beautiful quote by Byron Katie. She says, one experiences stress when one resists the reality. So stress is an experience when we are resisting the reality, meaning there is something which we are not accepting. We accept that this is what has happened. We are accepting that this is the reality. However, in order to bring ourselves in terms with that reality might be a challenging, and that's the point where one might be resisting or denying what has happened. So acceptance is very important. This does not mean that you force yourself into acceptance. It is a process. Any type of healing is not a journey, it is a process. So every time anything gets triggered, you have to very, very gently remind yourself of the healthy and new appropriate behaviors, and you have to be very, very compassionate with yourself. So check if you are if you are getting so much into overthinking and you are feeling emotionally very low or restless, then you need to check what is something in my life or in my experience which I am not yet ready to accept, and then see how you can come in terms with a level of acceptance. Third point is that whenever we are in a state of fear, anxiety, or stress, our mind becomes much more active in a very disgusting way. I mean, it goes in a very unhealthy way. It becomes so restless that it is very, very difficult for us to think clearly. There is no clarity, right, because of all the restlessness one is experiencing. Psychologically speaking, there could be a lot of cognitive errors or thinking errors at the level of the thought process. So what you can do is, which is the third technique, you need to note down the thoughts. So when you are in the moment of that experience, breathing exercise is the first key to help yourself, and then ask yourself, what is going through my mind? What am I thinking? That is very, very important. And don't do this exercise mentally. Your thoughts needs to be written and expressed in detail on the paper. Writing is very, very important, and it would be very, very helpful if you practice this exercise beforehand, so that you can apply the techniques and you can become aware practically when need be, right? So note down your thoughts by asking yourself, what is going through my mind? What am I thinking? Now what you have to understand at any given point of time is this. This could be some of the thinking errors in the thoughts when one is in stress, fear, or anxiety. So first error is magnification. Magnification means it's just like a magnifying glass which enlarges or exaggerates any picture or any object. Same thing we are doing with our experience. Are we exaggerating the fear, the anxiety, the stress we are into by thinking a lot more negative and in a more magnified way about it? So what happens in magnification is that we might blow out of proportion, meaning we are just exaggerating about the situation, about the person or the experience, which adds on to our stress. Next error could be fortune telling. So what happens in fortune telling is one might be thinking of all the worst possible outcomes, completely rejecting the facts or evidences, or completely rejecting the alternative interpretations or any other possibilities. So what happens in fortune telling is that one just thinks of the worst possible outcome. Next example could be thinking error could be should. So should statements. The situation should be in my way. The person should think and act in my way. The thing should not be this way. The thing should be this way. So when we are imposing our experience in terms of shoulds, when we are imposing shoulds into our experiences, it adds on to a lot of stress and fear and anxiety. So you need to identify some of these cognitive errors. Another error could be emotional reasoning. Just because I am feeling stress, that means that there must be something really, really stressful. No. When you are thinking negative, or when you are in the downward spiral of negative thoughts, your feelings are not a right teacher for you to tell you what is right and what is wrong. I mean, your feelings are also going completely distorted and illogical, just like your negative thoughts. So just because you are feeling fear or anxiety or stress and you are trying to get onto this logic out of the feelings, it will not help you, because your negative thoughts are also creating negative feelings. So emotional reasoning is that making sense out of the feelings and taking it as a truth which is not the truth. So remember some of these cognitive errors, identify them and correct them. That is the third technique. Fourth one is creating yourself or bringing yourself into a safe environment. This could be internal as well as external. Beginning with external, what type of safe, loving, kind, compassionate, helpful space you can create for yourself, where you can go to maybe once in a week or at any time when it is comfortable and appropriate for you. What other external reminders, let's say photograph of your loved one, or photograph, or a picture of your dream, of your goal, anything which really excites you, anything which restores your faith and rebuilds your confidence, your strength, your faith in yourself as well, and you look more optimistic and enthusiastic about life. So you keep some of this external stimulus with you or around you, and let that be a reminder of your safe place environment. Internally, breath is definitely the most powerful thing that we have, and you can go back to your breath at any point of time. And breath is also a very scientific, objective and useful technique, because mind and body are one entity. So whatever you are thinking, the exact reaction you will experience in your, or a sensation you will experience in the body. Okay. Second thing, internally, in creating a safe environment has to do with your visualizations. So what visualization you can go to, or again a memory or picture of something which gives you a very safe, calming, soothing, peaceful environment within yourself. So create a safe environment internally as well as externally. Next technique is which is very important. We also the goal is not, means my goal is not to tell you that how you can eliminate the stressor completely out of life. Stressor, varieties of stressors and the experience of stress is an inevitable part of life. Therefore, one needs to be more adaptive towards it and change his or her approach to deal effectively with it. So when you are in a real stressful situation, I mean, it is not just a mind created or your worst anxiety or fears are coming up, but you are actually dealing with something which is really causing you stress. It could be any type of crisis, emotionally, physically, financially, relationship wise. There could be any type of crisis, and then you need to objectively evaluate it. So the next technique is you have to examine and analyze all the facts, all the points, all the evidences. So just become the student and note down all the facts and evidences that are related to this stressor, and then see what you can control and what you cannot control in it. There could be some of the very few but very powerful factors which are or which could be in your control, and there could be a lot of factors which may or may not be in your control. So when we are clear with what we can control and what we cannot, then we can plan out accordingly. So in this technique, you have to put your subjective interpretation, narrative, stories and fearful, dreadful possibilities, negative thoughts aside, and you have to bring your focus on all the facts and evidences which has to do directly with this stressor or the stress, and see what you can do with it. Okay. Now there are some harsh realities of life over which we have no control at all. Of course, the way we think about it and our attitude is one thing, but then when we are going through something which is so precious and valuable to us, like a loss of a relationship, any type of relationship, or because of some external loss. There could also be a loss of self, a loss of identity in some way. And in those circumstances, appropriate amount of grieving is very, very important. One just needs to make sure that one doesn't get completely into, or that the grief do not dominate or overcome the process, overcome the person. So appropriate amount of grieving is important, as well as seeking appropriate professional help as well if need be. So when we are facing this harsh realities of life, make sure that you go very gentle, very slow, and very compassionate with yourself. Don't bring your perfectionist attitude, don't force yourself to do something, and don't even project your anger or blaming to yourself or onto other people. Seek help if need be, that's definitely one thing. And slowly admire or accept your healing journey, and see what all good you can bring to yourself. Slowly come in acceptance with the harsh realities of life, because those realities are also inevitable part of our life. And when it comes to some of the permanent losses, it is really very painful, and therefore do not make it more painful by being so critical about yourself or about your life or about your future. It's very important. Don't do that. Rest is very important. We have to make sure that we do things in a very balanced way. We should not go on the extremes, like it should not be 0 or it should not be 100 also. It should be somewhere in between, so that we function at a more appropriate levels. And when it comes to daily hassles, again coming back to what we can control, what we cannot control. Now daily hassles are everyday stress. This also includes the traffic or the noisy environment we live in, or some everyday nuisance, maybe at work or in neighborhood, or with some of the dealings in our everyday life. So that's where it is more appropriate to practice the wellness cycle, which I had discussed in previous sessions. Wellness cycle is the opposite of the cycle of distress. Now in wellness cycle, I have explained that there could be number of stressors, but our responses and techniques are way more adaptive and effective, and that's the only way to deal with our stress, since it is an inevitable part of life. So that is one thing. And the last and most important thing, deep inner spiritual work is very important. No matter at what age and phase or stage you are at in your life right now, you must have experienced life in its varieties, correct? And when it comes to those varieties, I'm not asking you to judge it or categorize it in terms of good, not good, helpful, not helpful, right, wrong, whatever. Let's not jump into the categories or in the dualities, because we are already living in a world like that. But the focus should be on how much more of you are realizing of yourself, not in terms of the I-ness, not in terms of the ego, but something which is more at the highest level, something which brings you more connected with your potentials. So deep inner work is very important, and once you begin with this process of deep inner work, then you will realize and you will be actually making insightful or meaningful understanding of all of your experiences, and with it comes lot of clarity, and most importantly lot of fulfillment, contentment, peace and happiness that we strive towards, that we are dying for. So deep inner work, deep inner spiritual work is very, very important. By this I also mean to accept the laws of the universe, to accept the laws of life, to accept certain laws basically, or principles or rules as it is. And with that, we give good content to the mind, we give lot of clarity to the mind, so it also stops shouting, chattering and reacting more. मतलब इसका जो ओवर ड्रामा है या जो ड्रामा है वो कम हो जाएगा, क्योंकि whatever content you give to the mind, whatever food you give to the mind, that's how it functions and that's how it consumes. So अगर हमने कुछ रूल्स ऑफ लाइफ एंड प्रिंसिपल्स अच्छे से समझ लिए हैं, दैट ऑल्सो मीन्स दैट वी हैव कम इन गुड टर्म्स with the realities of life, meaning there is acceptance, तो हमारी लाइफ काफ़ी सिंपल और आसान हो जाती है. और वही हमें करना है, to make it more meaningful for ourselves as well as for others. And remember that we are all here to awaken ourselves, to bring ourselves to the best and highest potential levels, and others are merely supporting our journey. Now, of course, some people or some experiences may not be so suitable to us, as in they may not be so favorable and are far away from our expectations. But remember, we are here to awaken ourselves, and others are merely supporting the journey in making us, or in making us to become who we really are and who we really could be. So let there be no harmful intention, motives or feeling of envy or hatred towards anyone, but let's just see ourselves one with everyone, and that others are one with us, because we live in a single unified experience. Thank you so much.